Scripps College Class of 2022. Now it is my honor to welcome our distinguished faculty and platform party.
I think we can all be seated. Good afternoon. My name is Lynn Thompson, and I'm the chair of the Board of Trustees here at Scripps College and a proud alumna class of '72. On behalf of all of the members of the board, many of whom are on the platform with me, it is my pleasure to welcome you to Scripps College's 92nd annual commencement exercise. We are delighted to be here today together in celebration after 2 tumultuous years. To the class of 2022, this is a milestone for you. It is the culmination of years of hard work, growth, and self-discovery in the face of uncertainty. It is only the beginning of the next phase of pursuing your goals and dreams. I congratulate you on your accomplishments, and I commend your focus and discipline in rising to the challenges of the academic rigor that define a Scripps College education. Today, each of you takes the very significant step from student to graduate of the college, joining thousands of others who have gone before you. As I said, I sat among the candidates for graduation in 1972. As an alumna, I can tell you firsthand that Scripps, both the education you've received and the friends that you have made here, will continue to be an important part of your life after college. Scripps is an inspiring place that cultivates exceptional individuals. So we know that after 4 years as part of the campus community, with your new degree in hand, you are prepared and ready to make your unique contribution to the world outside this campus. You will soon be joining notable graduates and past commencement speakers such as Gabby Giffords, 93, Noni Cream, 94, Elizabeth Robbins Turk, 83, Hannah Beth Jackson, 71, and Barbara Arnwine, 73, to name a few, as change makers and positive disruptors. We know that what you have learned at the college will transcend the years you have spent in the community, and that in time, probably very soon, you will play important roles in this complex and changing world. To the parents, family, and friends of today's graduates, I extend a special welcome. I know the pride you must feel today. Savor the moment and enjoy the ceremony. Now, it is my pleasure to turn the proceedings over to the interim president of Scripps College, Amy Marcus Newhall. Amy.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to echo our board chair, Lynn Thompson's warm welcome, warm, get it? Welcome to today's commencement ceremony. We are thrilled to celebrate the accomplishments of our seniors today and to share this landmark occasion with all of you in the audience. We are particularly thrilled to celebrate in person, since commemorating your achievements as a community is a highlight and hallmark of a Scripps education. Congratulations, class of 2022. You made it. We know that the seats in this front section are filled with scholars, leaders, and change makers. Seniors, you have pursued diverse interests and passions that have led to unexpected and transformative results over the past 4 years. What's more, you have remained resilient in the face of unprecedented and challenging times. Whether in the laboratory, in communities across the globe, in corporate boardrooms, in elected positions, or in domains we can't even yet imagine, we can't wait to see what you will do next on the next legs of your journeys. Our seniors researched a variety of topics to complete their thesis papers, projects, and performances. The senior thesis is the culmination of the Scripps educational experience and reflects the importance of inquiry, independent critical analysis, and faculty-student interaction at the college. Every year, our seniors' work demonstrates how the academic rigor of the Scripps curriculum distinguishes Scripps students and prepares them to be lifelong learners in whatever they pursue. Seniors, I congratulate each of you for completing such ambitious work. We are proud of your academic accomplishments. Congratulations on that. The thesis process is made possible by our distinguished faculty. They are both the authors and the guardians of academic excellence on this campus. Not only educators, our faculty serve as mentors, colleagues, and ambassadors for our students. I'm confident that each senior graduating today has a story to tell, or many stories to tell, about the ways in which a professor or professors have shaped and enriched their Scripps experience. Faculty, please rise as we acknowledge you for ensuring a distinctive educational experience. We'll let you sit down now. I would also like to thank the many Scripps staff who are committed to cultivating an exceptional educational and residential experience for our students. Scripps is fortunate to have skilled and dedicated professionals who deliver a broad range of stimulating residential and co-curricular programs and activities to strengthen our connections to one another. Our talented, hardworking employees help students through personal and academic challenges. They ensure that students have healthy, delicious meals every day. They provide meaningful work and volunteer experiences on and off campus to prepare students for careers and life. And they ensure a beautiful campus environment that cultivates curiosity and community. In short, they are here to ensure that our students' college experience is exceptional, unique, and memorable. This momentous ceremony and all of the other events throughout the weekend could not happen without their work behind the scenes and even in front of the scenes. So please join me in thanking our staff for their service to the college. Finally, but not least, I want to recognize the many parents, grandparents, aunts, uncle, godparents, and friends here today. Family and friends, you have supported our seniors along their educational journeys from grade school through college. You entrusted your high school seniors to us 4 years ago, and in these times more than ever, you partnered with us to help them maximize their college experience, realize their academic potential, and continue their personal growth. We know that your contributions, support, and encouragement have been invaluable, and we thank you for all you've done to prepare the graduates for this very special day. Thank you. Finally, I would like to thank you, the seniors, for embodying the hopes and dreams of Scripps founder Ellen Browning Scripps, who envisioned an educational community that would equip its students to live lives of leadership, service, integrity, and creativity. Through you, Scripps is continuing its traditions to celebrating the life of the mind and developing humane and compassionate leaders for the future. You have enriched the Scripps community with your ideas, your curiosity, and your aspirations. You have earned the honor and recognition you will receive today. It represents years of developing your work ethic, overcoming challenges, and celebrating your growth. Undoubtedly, you will carry some of Scripps with you wherever you go, through the friendships you've made, the lessons you've learned, and your ability to advocate for the issues that you care about. Come back and see us, talk with future classes, share your new experiences, your lessons learned, and your victories and challenges. As a Scripps alum, you become an important resource for our future students. Please continue the legacy of leadership you began during your time here by volunteering to mentor, interview applicants, serve on alum leadership committees, host interns, and speak on panels. The door is always open, and you are always welcome. You are now a member of a powerful network, or very soon to be, a network of alums who are leading organizations, communities, and movements across the globe, and who are eager to help you do the same. Scripps alums all over the world are creating amazing change at local, national, and international levels. Because you leave here with courage, confidence, and hope, I look forward to what you will bring back to the Scripps community and bring forward to the world. Thank you all. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce this year's senior class speakers, co-presidents of the class of 2022, Elizabeth Hal Egan and Uma Nagarajan Swenson. I still have more to say about them before they get to say. So Elizabeth is from Boston, you can just stand here and we can all look at you, is a politics and religious studies major who has served as an active member of the Scripps Associated Students during her 4 years at Scripps. She has been involved with several clubs and organizations on campus, served as the 5C events chair, and most recently served as senior class co-president. Elizabeth has held several internships while a student at Scripps. They include the Massachusetts Job with Justice, the Alliance for Citizen Engagement, Pennsylvanians for Alternatives to the Death Penalty, and the Massachusetts State Senate as an intern for Senator John F. Keenan. Here in Claremont, Elizabeth served as the editor-in-chief of the Claremont Journal of International Relations. She led the fundraising efforts across the Claremont colleges for the 5C Dance Marathon, the college's chapter of the nationwide Miracle Network Dance Marathon, supporting Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. Elizabeth also served as a peer mentor at Scripps, where she assisted first years and transfer students become familiar with the campus community through orientation programming and outreach activities. Elizabeth plans to pursue her JD at USC's Gould School of Law in the fall. Uma is a politics and history major from Berkeley, California. She has worked as a barista and manager at the Motley Coffee House and was involved in organizing Nobody Fails at Scripps and the Student Mutual Aid Fund. She has also held several internships, including with the Praxis Project, KPFA Radio in Berkeley, California, and the Institute for Policy Studies Criminalization of Race and Poverty Project, where she served as an intern and a fellow. At Scripps, Uma was a member of the Scripps Associated Students as a student senator, and most recently as the senior class co-president. Uma has plans to move to the Bay Area and continue to pursue her work with organizers toward prison abolition. In addition to serving as SAS senior class co-presidents, over the past year, Elizabeth and Uma worked diligently with their class to find this year's commencement speaker. At Scripps, the students lead the process to identify a speaker who captures the values of the graduating class. As such, I would like to acknowledge the excellent leadership demonstrated by Elizabeth and Uma as this year's senior class co-presidents and chairs of the selection committee. Please join me, it says welcoming, but we have already welcomed them. So please, give them a round of applause.
Hey, a little bit too excited. Oh my God. Hello, and welcome to the commencement of the class of 2022. My name is Elizabeth.
And my name is Uma.
And we are so thrilled to be celebrating our incredible seniors with you all today. When Uma and I were deciding what themes and topics we wanted to discuss, we found ourselves returning to ideas of love and collective care. We were looking to build upon a common experience that unified us, but found that we all experienced the pandemic and our years at Scripps so differently.
Before the pandemic, so much of our life was contained within the walls of this campus. The student body created a unique sense of love, care, and community in every space we inhabited. Many of us had a beautiful life. We have some of the best food in the world, gorgeous dorms, a campus that looks more like a resort than a school, a literal walled garden, and fountains everywhere you look. To some extent, as long as we were within these walls, we were materially cared for. This was never unilateral and it was never equal, but we all had food, we all had housing, and we all had a place to do our work. All of our basic needs were met, and for the most part, we were able to pursue our education and our interests with everything we needed.
We'd also like to note that so much of this is due to the dining hall, facilities, housekeeping, and maintenance staff at Scripps, and we are sure that we speak for our entire class when we say thank you for all that you do. We would not be graduating without you.
So, on March 11th, 2020, I was skipping geology and sitting in seal court with some of my coworkers from the Motley when we got the email, and everyone here probably knows exactly what email I'm talking about. It was the one telling us that we had a week to pack up everything that we owned and leave campus, find somewhere to stay. I had no idea what we were in for. I don't think anybody here did, and I definitely did not think that we would be leaving campus for 17 months, nor could I have predicted all of the pain and the hardship that those 17 months would bring. It seemed like all of a sudden the walls that had held us no longer did. They neither cared for nor did they constrain us as they had. Every single student, save for the 10 who remained on campus, scattered to our own corners of the country and the globe. We were no longer physically at Scripps, but we were all still students here, and the expectations that this institution had for us as students were largely the same.
There's something to be said for that. Scripps prides itself on holding us to the highest standard. It believes that all students are capable of excellence. However, when not all students have the resources to do so, these standards become metrics of inequality rather than of merit. At the onset of the pandemic, so much of what we'd previously all had access to disappeared. Our twin XLs, spotty Wi-Fi, libraries, browsing rooms, and overcrowded mealtimes at Malott were gone. Instead, we were all sent to places with varying levels of material comfort and safety.
So at this moment, when we're about to cross the stage, we need to honor our community members and the members of our class who weren't able to only be students while we were at Scripps. For many, graduation isn't just a celebration of getting our degrees. It's representative of so much more than that, especially given what the pandemic has brought to us. Some students had to go home and work and get jobs and able to pay rent in order to support our families. Some students had to care for hospitalized and ill family members. We had to manage the rigorous academic demands of Scripps while experiencing a global tragedy and countless other personal traumas, and that is barely scratching the tip of the iceberg. However, our class's dedication to love, care, and mutual aid is what enabled us to reach this point when we're about to walk across the stage.
Love literally means an intense feeling of deep affection. But in practice, we often see the beautiful, transformative, risky, non-normative, and freeing ways that it can be felt and received. A quote that came to mind is from Bell Hooks' All About Love. She writes that, "The practice of love offers no place of safety. We risk loss, hurt, pain. We risk being acted upon by forces outside our control." And as we all know, love for oneself, for one's community, for others, in the time of COVID has really forced us all to confront those risks and take leaps of faith. Our class knows that practicing love does not mean staying inside a comfortable space. We practice love for each other, both on and off campus, and the incredible work the seniors have done over the course of the last tumultuous 4 years speaks to that.
As soon as the pandemic began and members of the class of 2020 began Nobody Fails at Scripps, members of our class, 2022 and probably some 2021, joined that. We kept that organizing infrastructure alive during our transition back to campus, and we were instrumental in building a network of trust, community, and care, which raised almost $200,000 for and from the community. Woo! This act of love, which could not have happened without our class and without the entire student body, is why so many of us are here and are able to graduate. Our mutual aid organizing was beautiful, but it was also devastating that we had to do this within an institution that is so well-resourced and that sells itself on having so much care and dedication towards its students. We stepped up for each other when it was needed, and we put into practice what we were learning about inside the confines of Scripps. We organized to build the community that we had imagined.
This organizing does not exist in a vacuum, however. When it matters most, Scripps students show up for one another. There's a long history of student advocacy and mobilization to create real change for future generations. One particularly poignant example is the current Res Life organizing that echoes the demand of the 2017 RA strike that followed the death of student Tatisa Zunguze. Our students are also demanding better conditions and support mechanisms for the residential coordinators and community coordinators who help keep our dorms functioning. Unfair burdens are being placed on our Black student Res Life workers, and this needs to change. We strongly encourage everyone in the audience to go to linktree/Scripps22, where you can read their letter and sign their petition. Another successful campaign was Drop Sodexo, which pushed Scripps to contract with a different dining services provider that did not use prison labor. Divest is another student organization that is advocating for the Board of Trustees and the institution as a whole to divest from fossil fuels and prioritize the security of our future. In these efforts, Scripps students' commitment to love and care for our community has been incredibly clear.
In addition to Nobody Fails at Scripps, the Claremont Student Worker Alliance is organizing a mutual aid fund for staff members at the 5 Cs. CSWA's work to ensure that all workers are cared for is instrumental to these schools' ability to function. Their current fight, which is going on, is against union busting at Pitzer. Their fight calls on lessons learned at Pomona College 10 years ago, and me and Liz stand in the strongest solidarity with all workers. We urge you all to do the same, and once again, we urge you to go to Linktree. I'm gonna spell this out for everyone, like literally spell it out. If you pull out your phone and open a browser right now, or you just take note of it and do it later, it is linktree.ee/Scripps22. All of our college communities are connected. These movements and these mutual aid organizations are doing the work here on campus to build a stronger, safer community for everyone in the mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical senses. We are really, really hopeful that future generations of Scripps students will not have to claw at the door to be recognized or be disregarded as too young to understand our own struggles, but rather, holders of institutional power will appreciate the history of student activism and student organizing on campus and actively try to improve our community and make it welcoming and available for all by listening to our needs.
We're proud of the legacy of love and care we're leaving Scripps with. We have all worked to create the community and institution that will represent us. I think each of us can look back on the last 4 years and know that we made an impact in our own unique ways. We have incredible organizers, activists, athletes, scholars, artists. The list truly goes on. Each person here has contributed to our community and will continue to do so after we cross this stage. We really do know that the world is scary. It's very scary out there. And the thought of entering the so-called real world is daunting. But we can hold each other tight, as we've done for our time here, cherish the accomplishments and lessons we've learned, and find new ways to imagine and create a better world for all of us. No matter what your immediate plans are after this weekend, we are confident that the values we embodied here will extend outward from Scripps. Without a doubt, we'll all step into our new spaces with love, care, and compassion. That is what will allow us to transform the world. That commitment to fundamental values of collectivism will help us create a beautiful and fulfilling future for us all.
Yeah. And this pressure is probably really scary. I feel like today all we've been told is, you're inheriting a world on fire, like good luck, you all got this. But As Mariam Kaba writes in her book, We Do This Till We Free Us, changing everything also means there are, quote, many places to start, infinite opportunities to collaborate, and endless imaginative interventions and experiments to create. Let's begin our abolitionist journey not with the question, what do we have now and how can we make it better? Instead, let's ask, what can we imagine for ourselves and the world? If we do that, then boundless possibilities of a more just world await us. We can't wait to see how we reimagine the world. We love you, class of 22! Thank you!
Thank you both to Elizabeth and Uma very much. Just one more round of applause. It is now my honor to introduce our 2022 commencement speaker, Andrea J. Ritchie. Andrea Ritchie is an author, advocate, and researcher who has authored several books and articles on policing, criminalization, mass incarceration, and immigration enforcement. Since graduating from Howard University School of Law, Ritchie has spent 3 decades litigating and organizing around policing and the criminalization of Black women, girls, trans, and gender nonconforming people. She is the author of Invisible No More: Police Violence Against Black Women and Women of Color, and co-author of Say Her Name: Resisting Police Brutality Against Black Women, and Queer Injustice: The Criminalization of LGBT People in the United States, and the forthcoming No More Police: A Case for Abolition. Ritchie was in residency this past semester with the college's Intercollegiate Feminist Center, where she guided informal discussions about student organizing, Black feminist and abolitionist movements, and led the conference, Abolition is Feminism, Feminism is Abolition, attended by more than 350 students, faculty, and community members. The 3-day conference featured abolitionist scholars, feminist policy advocates, and organizers on the front lines of struggles to divest from policing and punishment, who gathered for a conversation about how feminism has shaped historic and present-day struggles to defund and abolish police, prisons, and borders, and visions for safer communities through a Black feminist lens. Our senior class presidents, Elizabeth and Uma, say that Ritchie's achievements as an organizer, scholar, and writer, as well as her work and advocacy for all women, queer, and trans people of color, has served as an inspiration, particularly as the COVID-19 pandemic has emphasized the need for collective and communal organizing. With Ritchie in residence at the IFC, they couldn't imagine a more perfect speaker. They also shared, quote, they believe that Ms. Ritchie's career and her work exemplify the deeply nuanced vision with which we must see the world and demonstrate the challenges to come, as well as the tangible hope with which we must take on this fight for a better future. The pandemic highlighted the ongoing inequities faced by students and the need for long-lasting organizing and community care. Ms. Ritchie's work speaks deeply to our collective values of care, courage, and hope, end quote. I couldn't agree more. I have heard from so many students, faculty, and staff who have not only enjoyed getting to know Ms. Ritchie during her residency, but have truly benefited from her expertise, wisdom, and life's work toward creating a better and more just society for everyone. We are also pleased to have her with us here today. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to our 2022 commencement speaker, Andrea J. Ritchie.
Okay, thank you, President Marcus Newhall, esteemed trustees, deans, faculty, staff, class presidents, and students of Scripps College. It is my tremendous honor to have been invited by the class of 2022 to be your commencement speaker today and to have served as distinguished Emily O'Brien visiting professor at Scripps College for the past 6 weeks. It has also been a tremendous gift. During my short time here, I have been transformed both by the students who signed up for my class on police abolition, who taught me so much about grappling with the tough questions on the path to the world we want, and about how we are already creating it. And by the students whose classes I visited and who joined me for office hours, whose questions and provocations inspired me to think more deeply about my own journey and our collective path forward. It was also an incredible gift to be able to welcome dozens of organizers from across the country who have been fighting for safer communities over the past 2 years and the past 2 decades to campus. Thanks to Scripps' generosity in making open-door classrooms, technology, and facilities available, with the support of the Scripps Intercollegiate Center, Scripps Presents, and Audiovisual Department, organizers from Minneapolis, the epicenter of the 2020 uprisings for racial justice, Seattle, Miami, Durham, Detroit, and many places in between, who have been strategizing, collaborating, learning together, and caring for each other through Zoom screens since the spring of 2020, were finally able to touch and feel each other's presence in person for the first time since the beginning of the pandemic, bringing many of us to tears. In these gorgeous surroundings, under these beautiful blue skies, gazing at majestic mountains, amidst a riot of roses and trumpet vines, and the scent of citrus blossoms and jasmine, and gourmet cafeteria food like the likes of which few of us had ever experienced before, we were able to replenish, regroup, and recommit to the next phase of struggle. It was also an incredible privilege to co-host Abolitionist Feminism, Feminism is Abolition, with the Intercollegiate Feminist Center. I want to extend deep thanks to Director Susan Castanetto and Program Administrator Marnita Martin for their invitation to serve as O'Brien Professor and for their considerable labor and generosity in hosting me and the conference. And yet, among all of these honors, privileges, and blessings of my time here at Scripps, it's the class of 2022's invitation to deliver today's commencement address that has most moved me. I have been a fan of Scripps students and profoundly inspired by your commitment to justice since I first visited in 2015 at the invitation of former comrade in Insight, Feminists of Color Against Violence, Professor Pia Chatterjee, and Hao Wang, that's right, and Hao Wang of the Scripps Humanities Center to speak about my work documenting and challenging police violence against Black women, queer, and trans people. Over the years, I've had the honor and privilege of organizing towards futures free of the violence of policing and prisons with Scripps alums like Leanne Wang at Insight, who I'm honored to have as my guest here today, Jess Heaney at Critical Resistance, Joss Green at Survived and Punished, Olivia Gleason at Californians United for a Responsible Budget, and I just learned, Barbara Arnwine, and of learning from the abolitionist scholarship of Scripps faculty, including today's Convocation Award speaker, Mark Golub. I am especially a fan of the class of 2022, since I met some of you when I was last here in 2018. Scripps student organizers earned my deep admiration and respect when they told me they needed to leave a student speaker dinner early and wouldn't be able to attend my talk later that evening because they needed to protest the study abroad program at the University of Haifa. The students' protest that night bound us together in decades-long tradition of student organizing against racist state violence and repression. You see, I couldn't tell you who my college commencement speaker was because I protested my own graduation as a leader in the struggle that shaped my undergraduate years, the movement to end Cornell University's investment in the violent apartheid state of South Africa. As an exhibit that hangs in the Scripps Humanities tent, where I held my weekly office hours during my time here documents, students at the 5 Cs were engaged in similar battles at that time. Protests of the Haifa program represent a continuation of these struggles, reflected in ongoing calls by students for justice in Palestine, for divestment from another violent and murderous apartheid state. Demands for divestment from violent institutions and regimes also inspired the successful subsequent student-led campaigns to drop Sodexo as a cafeteria contractor at Scripps and on campuses across the country, including my own at Howard Law School, based on the company's investment in private prisons and use of prison labor. These divestment demands also echo in the calls to divest from and ultimately abolish all institutions of violence and invest in meeting community needs and practices of safety that many Scripps students joined in 2020. My undergraduate years were shaped by other struggles that remain relevant to Scripps students today. For instance, I attended my first 2 marches on Washington during my sophomore and junior years as we faced down the potential repeal of Roe v. Wade. We're now on the threshold of that reality we feared and sought to forestall. Today, millions across the country marched in defense of the right to universal access to safe abortion. I am proud to see Scripps students take up the mantle of calls for reproductive justice and invite all of us to expand our understanding of what's at stake beyond narrow framings of the right to choose one medical procedure to a broader vision of ensuring sexual and gender self-determination for all, including trans youth whose access to basic health care is under attack across the country. And to challenge all of the ways that pregnancy and parenting, sexuality and gender identity and expression are criminalized, especially for Black, Indigenous, and other people of color, migrants, incarcerated, trans, queer, and disabled people. Indeed, the class of 2022 has stood on the threshold of a new world for much of the time you have been students at Scripps. You have lived through a global pandemic that has killed over 1 million people in the US and 15 million worldwide, bereaving and disabling billions more, disrupting life as we knew it on and off campus in ways that track and reinforce existing fault lines along axes of race, gender, class, and nation. You experienced an unprecedented economic crisis precipitated by the pandemic, which persists in widespread evictions and growing houselessness. You witnessed devastating manifestations of the mounting climate crisis in wildfires that blazed across Australia, the Amazon, and then much, much closer to home here in California. You witnessed an election and right-wing insurrection that threatened the very foundations of the structure of government as you know them. You're graduating in a world at war, not only in the Ukraine, but across the globe. You're certainly not the first generation to experience all of these things, but perhaps the first to experience them in such a short period of time. In many ways, the past 3 years have felt like a final exam for organizers and for humanity, in which the number of questions keeps increasing, their scope keeps expanding, and the time keeps shortening, rendering anti-colonial scholar Frantz Fanon's call to arms that each generation must, out of relative obscurity, discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it, more urgent than ever. We find ourselves on the edge of a portal to the future, in which the choices we make today will shape the world we create. Conjunctures such as this represent openings through which we can call into being radical new possibilities, and in which those with competing visions of the future can do the same. So many of you, as you've already heard, have stepped up to meet this historic moment by organizing mutual aid for fellow students, waging the Nobody Fails at Scripps campaign, traveling to LA City Council and county board meetings to add your voices to choruses calling to defund police and invest in community safety, and by filling streets and packing council chambers and courthouses across the country to demand the world you want, in which housing, care, opportunity, and safety are abundantly and sustainably available to all. Some of you danced to the dreams of people trapped in cages as COVID tore through prisons, leaving devastation in its path outside prison walls, and then transmitted those dances back to people locked inside as rays of hope. On my very first day on campus as visiting professor, I had the privilege of traveling with Professor Suchi Bramfman to meet with Scripps students incarcerated at the misnamed California Rehabilitation Center, and to see firsthand the impact of Scripps faculty and student commitments to their humanity. As beloved anthropologist and Occupy organizer David Graeber, who joined the ancestors during your time at Scripps, said, "The ultimate hidden truth of the world is that it is something that we make and could just as easily make differently. The choice of what world we make is in your hands. We can choose a world where access to dwindling resources is increasingly, intensely, and violently policed, or, in the words of the Critical Resistance Insight statement, we can build a world based on radical freedom, mutual accountability, and passionate reciprocity, in which safety and security is not premised on violence or the threat of violence, but on a collective commitment to guaranteeing the safety and survival of all." We can condemn a growing number of people around the world to misery while continuing to pour hundreds of billions of dollars a year into ever more police, prisons, borders, and wars, which consistently fail to produce safety. Or we can choose a transition to a care-based economies in which collective resources are used for the collective good. We can choose a world where pandemic relief funds are diverted to fuel a growing police state, or we can use them to alleviate suffering and meet the immediate needs of a population devastated by grief, illness, housing crisis, and debt, to ensure continuing and universal domestic and global access to vaccines, testing, research, and preventative measures, to make sure that teachers and students can learn in safer environments without risking their lives and theirs of their loved ones, and to heal from the countless losses, isolation, and disruptions of the past 3 years, and build the infrastructure we need to survive what is to come. We can choose to meet the next pandemic and the next with ever more criminalization, sacrificing the health and well-being of millions to the profits of the few, consigning essential and frontline workers, disabled, chronically ill, and immunocompromised people, children, and elders to death and disability and deprivation. Or we can choose a different path in which every single life is treated as precious and valued. We can choose a world in which a mere 25 miles from this lush and beautiful campus, people are caged among rats and forced to eat food festering with cockroaches, fearing that they've been forgotten by all but their loved ones, in what one incarcerated Scripps student describes as a no-law land, in which punishment is a tool of repression and daily meals are sites of humiliation. Or we can learn together, build connections based on our shared humanities, and fight to free them all until the walls between us crumble. We can choose a world where we continue to promote prisons as solutions to violence when in fact prisons are violence, and 90% of the people caged in the California Institution for Women, which also sits less than 25 miles from here, are themselves survivors of violence, victims of abuse who were denied protection and then criminalized and abused by the state. Or we can choose a world in which resources are diverted from policing and punishment into preventing, interrupting, and eliminating violence in all its forms, and ensuring that survivors have a multitude of options available to them to avoid, escape, and heal from violence. We can choose a world where migrants following resources extracted from their homelands and fleeing violence and climate crises fueled by the nations of the global north are whipped and beaten at borders, left to drown in oceans, ripped from their parents, children, and families, and caged for years far from home in prisons and jails, including the Santa Rita jail, which is also less than 20 miles from where you're sitting. Or we can imagine a world without borders and commit to ensuring that each of us can find safety and thrive in all of the places we call home. In other words, we can choose a world in which, in the words of another Scripps incarcerated student, justice is vengeance, contrived by those who wield it in their favor, in which peace requires violence, freedom stands on slavery, equality ignores inequity, and progress made towards tomorrow is made by slaughter today. Or we can recognize, as he reminds us, that every day we are the future, and dream and build worlds in which we are all free from fear, from harm, from violence, and from want. We can imagine new geographies and new social relations based on collective rather than coercive power, and call into being commitment to nurture each other and our planet for generations to come. While these choices and charges may seem daunting, to say the least, we can begin to choose new futures right here, right now. For example, we could choose to honor the original stewards of the land Scripps College is built on beyond land acknowledgements by giving land back and making reparations to its original inhabitants. We can choose to create communities that invite and admit Black, trans, undocumented, and first-generation students, only to fail to attend to their experiences on a campus where they don't see themselves represented in faculty, administration, or conversation, and feel unsupported in the reality that, as one student told me, the world is always knocking at my door in the form of the next phone call from a family member who's been arrested or deported, the next time they're called the N-word or a homophobic or transphobic slur on or off campus, or the next time they're stopped by cops in heavily policed communities surrounding Scripps. Or we can choose to create truly welcoming and affirming environments by listening to students, offering greater institutional and financial support and staffing, including paid student positions, by paying careful attention to what is required to build genuinely welcoming spaces. We can choose to create spaces in which students are pressured to police each other and denied access to the resources they need to continue their education if they resist. Or we can create worlds that value student workers and harm reduction and care-based approaches to residential life, drawing on the values of communities in which, to paraphrase residential life counselor Alicia Sharp, we rely on each other in neighborhoods with limited resources. We enjoy each other's presence because it is the gift we have. We ask for help and support others in community as if our and their lives relied on it, because they do. Scripps can be a space that pours money into campus security and allows it to be weaponized against Black students and faculty, or it can be one that prioritizes resources to care and counseling for students navigating unprecedented pressures and trauma while confronting presumptions that Black people are not part of this community, but rather a threat to it. We can betray our values by busting unions instead of recognizing and negotiating with them, or we can choose a world where we value and support workers organizing for better conditions on and off campus who make life at the 5 Cs possible. We can choose approaches to sexual assault on campus that individualize the problem, fail to address the conditions that perpetuate it, and reinforce carceral responses. Or we can follow the lead of visionary Scripps students who are reimagining and practicing sexual assault prevention, intervention, care, and transformative justice on campus and beyond. Finally, we can choose a world where students graduate with disabling debt, or we can choose a world where all student debt is forgiven and quality higher education is a universal right, not a privilege of the few. In other words, as Black feminist visionary fiction writer Octavia Butler, who lived and died just a few miles down the road, taught us, each of us can shape change and be changed. We can start to build the world we want in the choices we make and the relationships we create today. I want to close with a few words of thanks and an invitation. First, thank you to the Board of Trustees, deans, administrators, staff, and faculty who work hard to create conditions and opportunities to learn at Scripps in service of building the world we want and to ensure that we have a wealth of tools and resources at our disposal as we do. Thank you to all the Scripps parents for gifting us with these gorgeous and open and brilliant minds and spirits. And special thanks to first-generation parents like my mother for all the sacrifices you made to make this day possible. Thank you for supporting your students' choice of a liberal arts education. There's no degree program that will prepare us to meet what lies ahead. No trade school that will make us into the people we need to become to meet the challenges before us. As the quote from Ellen Browning Scripps that graces the entrance gate reminds us, the paramount obligation of a college is to develop in its students the ability to think clearly and independently, and the ability to live confidently, courageously, and hopefully. The curiosity, critical thinking, creativity, and care nurtured through a liberal arts education are the qualities that will best serve us in the search for solutions to the problems that plague us. I hope you will continue to support your student in exploration and practice of these gifts, and in discerning how and where they might make their best contributions to the future, even if their plans are not fully formed. There's no singular path to who they'll become. My father gave me law books for my college graduation, and I put them on a shelf for a decade before I applied, because in the meantime, I followed my bliss, and in so doing acquired communications and people skills and an understanding of the world that stood me in good stead in my legal career, and most importantly, in becoming the person I am today. I hope you'll continue to support your students in following their instincts and curiosities as they gain a deeper understanding of where their gifts lie, what their calling is, and what brings them joy as they live into their purpose. When I was 13, my brother gave me The Prophet, a collection of poems by Khalil Gibran. But it was to my parents that he read one of them on children. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls. For their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are sent forth. So today I invite you to marvel at the beauty of these arrows and celebrate their trajectory into the future as you release your bows. As parents today, you may be, well, first of all, my invitation is to all of us in closing is to meet this day and those to come with love. As parents today, you may be seeing a fuller expression of your child's political views, racial identity, gender, sexuality, or ways of loving than you have before. It's my sincerest hope that you're able to meet those with love and not fear. And I know that some of you may be unsettled or even angry by some of the ideas I've shared and calls to action you heard today. But I invite you to meet them with curiosity instead of fear, with the understanding that abolitionist visions come from a deep place of love. Love for survivors of violence like myself and my family, for communities devastated by policing, punishment, organized abandonment, and climate catastrophe, for families ripped apart, for children of all genders denied the love and self-determination that is their birthright, for citizens of the planet we inhabit. As Aaron Miles Cloud, co-founder of the Movement for Family Power, insightfully points out, everyone cares about someone's safety somewhere, some of the time. Abolitionists care about everyone's safety everywhere, all of the time. In other words, we choose love, refuse fear, and leave no one behind. Class of 2022, it's true, you are inheriting a world on fire. But you are also inheriting the resources, tools, skills, and wisdom of generations of ancestors, teachers, and mentors that can begin to heal it. In the words of playwright Lorraine Hansberry, we can impose beauty on our future. There will be many moments that lie ahead in which we'll be tempted to respond with fear, but that we must meet with love if we are to survive. Now, I'm just going to admit that if my commencement speaker had started rapping on about love when my heart was filled with rage at injustice and fear of what was to come on my own graduation day, I might have scoffed. And there's one thing the intervening 3 decades have taught me, it's that I would have been wrong. As Che Guevara proclaimed, true revolutionaries are guided by love. As one of my students recently reminded me, educator Paulo Freire taught that love is an act of courage, not fear. Bell Hooks, who joined the ancestors during your time at Scripps, described love as a practice of freedom, a liberatory process. As poet June Jordan said, love is life force, and the force through which we must build the power to create the world we long for. In our forthcoming book, No More Police, A Case for Abolition, Mariam Kaba and I quote Audre Lorde's invocation, that sometimes we are able to choose the time, the manner, and the arena of our revolution. But more usually, we must do battle where we are standing, as well as Lorde's reminder that despair is a tool of your enemies. We are in the midst of a centuries-long journey towards abolitionist horizons, in which, as Marianne often reminds us, hope is a discipline. As we move along this path, it's critical that we heed the wisdom of Toni Morrison, another giant who joined the ancestors during your time at Scripps, that it is not possible to constantly hold on to crisis. You have to have the love, and you have to have the magic. That is also life. Life is precious, and I was reminded today just how short it was in the past few hours when I learned of the passing of one of my mentors and dear friends, Urvashi Vaught, whose work fighting criminalization of LGBTQ people of color laid the ground for mine. I dedicate today's remarks to Urvashi, who modeled what it is to fight and love fiercely. If you take nothing else away from what I've said today, I hope that you take with you a commitment to meet what lies ahead with fervent love for yourself, for your communities, for our planet, and for future generations. That you will step into the challenge of this moment by loving fiercely into the future, by saying there is no going back, to say not this, by acting and fighting on your beliefs and manifesting us through this portal. I and we are counting on you to live as if a different world is possible and to lead us there. Congratulations to the Scripps class of 2022.
Andrea, thank you so much for those inspiring words and all the poetry. I particularly love that. We will now proceed with the conferring of degrees. The class of 2022 will be presented by Vice President for Academic Affairs and Dean of Faculty, Gretchen Edwalls Gilbert. The degrees will be conferred by Interim President Amy Marcus Newhall with the assistance of Interim Vice President and Dean of Students Adriana Di Bartolo Beckman. As is Scripps tradition, current and past trustees will present the diplomas to their students. And with that,
Maya Dolores Addison. Esther O. Adeniji. Lillian Off. Natalie Akins. Carolyn Elliott Albro, cum laude. Sylvie Maria Eliza Alexander in absentia, magna cum laude. Helen Rose Anderson, summa cum laude. Tess Elise Anderson, cum laude. Navya Ane, cum laude. Janet Alexis Anyama Asante. Anna Jane Bagley, cum laude. Fern Saylor Bailey. Samantha Irene Baker, cum laude. Allison Bean, cum laude. Lee Beckwith, summa cum laude. Tyler Elizabeth Benedict, cum laude. Alejandra Louise Blackmore, summa cum laude. Samantha Kane Bloomfield, magna cum laude. Claire Marie Bolt, summa cum laude. Cameron Boucher Khan, cum laude. Lucy Boulay Gercourt, cum laude. Lauren Nicole Braswell, summa cum laude. Julia Valentine Brock, summa cum laude. Natasha Lauren Brown. Mairead Redmond Brownell, magna cum laude. Hannah Moon Burgess. Anna M. Burns, summa cum laude. Aya Burton, summa cum laude. Sarah Alejandra Butcher, cum laude. Marcella Cunati, summa cum laude. Christina Catlett, cum laude. Melody Chang. Savannah Elizabeth Chapman. Maya Nadel Chavez, in absentia, magna cum laude. Natalie Marin Chen, magna cum laude. Sin Len Chen, in absentia. Blake Marie Cherami, cum laude. Catherine Ann Chiang. Nikita Chinamantur, magna cum laude. Devika Mujer Chipalkati, cum laude. Hannah Catherine Cho, summa cum laude. Amber Tai Chong, cum laude. Emily Madeline Clark, cum laude. Sophie Clader, cum laude. Zoe Kimberly Collins, in absentia, cum laude. Megan Rose Condis, summa cum laude. Caitlin Nora Conrad. Grace Audrey Corrigan, summa cum laude. Michaela Marie Cox, magna cum laude. Lara Bell Cunningham, cum laude. Natalie Rose Zoe Dale, cum laude. Camille Dethridge. Leah Kiela Deer. Gabriela Arpej Del Greco, in absentia, cum laude. Julia Digilis, summa cum laude. Megan Caleri Dolan, cum laude. Isabella Draper, cum laude. Amaya Louise Duncan. Maya Lucia Edstrom, summa cum laude. Catherine Chase Emery, in absentia, cum laude. Unuche Dinyar, engineer. Jocelyn Esquer, cum laude. Sable Nadine Fest. Kenza Fernandez Dominguez, cum laude. Lauren Elizabeth Fetton, cum laude. Chloe Isabel Findling, magna cum laude. Elizabeth Kate Finster, in absentia, cum laude. Isabel Nicole Fleming, cum laude. Andrea Flores, in absentia. Inez Elizabeth Frankfurt. Sophie Louise Fran. Claire Ann Gala, cum laude. Giselle Garrier. Aditi Indu Garg, summa cum laude. Victoria Danielle Janeo, cum laude. Hannah Gamsari, cum laude. Anna McTeague Gillespie, in absentia, cum laude. Maria Raquel Jimenez, in absentia. Alice Giuffrede, summa cum laude. Addison Elizabeth Glico. Kayla Glover Dodson. Estrella Gonzalez Saldana, cum laude. Chloe Mariana Gorman. Alaya Grice, cum laude. Clara Ruth Grimm, summa cum laude. Hannah Nicole Gruno, summa cum laude. Yufei Guo, magna cum laude. Mariam Hamado, in absentia, magna cum laude. Carly Adele Hannah, cum laude. Cynthia Hannas. Isabella Phoenix Harmon. Riley Ann Harmon, magna cum laude. Delaney Hartman, cum laude. Miriam Lee Howard Jensen, in absentia, cum laude. Audrey Ruth Hedlund, magna cum laude. Maria Denali Heater, magna cum laude. Theodora Gallant Helgeson, magna cum laude. Simone Snowden Henry, cum laude. Lily Sarah Hibbard, summa cum laude. Emily Ruby Hillman, in absentia, cum laude. Sienna Kathleen Hinshelwood, summa cum laude. Elizabeth Howell Egan, cum laude. Ashley Shea, cum laude. Emily Claire Hu, in absentia, cum laude. Isla Hanson Hune, cum laude. Mariah Whitney Irving, cum laude. Megan Kemi Itagaki, summa cum laude. Valerie Christine Jackman. Vasuda Jalan, cum laude. Audrey Mauvier Jam, cum laude. Nandi Jennings. Abigail Eustace Johnson, magna cum laude. Jennifer Brianna Johnston, cum laude. Anwin Nicole Jones, summa cum laude. Dulcinea Day Jones, cum laude. Crystal Juan, in absentia, magna cum laude. Stella Catherine Call. Lillian Cacho, summa cum laude. Narai Kepra. James Clearup, cum laude. Olivia Klein, magna cum laude. Anastasia Korochnica, cum laude. Margaret Kraus. Emily Mayer Langston, cum laude. Catherine Grace Larson. Elizabeth Lawton, magna cum laude. Molly Lazarus, summa cum laude. Nevada Joan Lee, magna cum laude. Sammy Lee, cum laude. Elena Faye Ellen Lev, cum laude. Wendy Lee, summa cum laude. Shiya Lee, cum laude. Sabrina Liu, summa cum laude. Sophia Marion Lyles, summa cum laude. Yunjin Lin, in absentia, cum laude. Fan Wei Liu, cum laude. Jacqueline Lowe, magna cum laude. Kendall Ballantine Lowery, summa cum laude. Emily Kim Liu, summa cum laude. Isabella Hope Lucas, magna cum laude. Margot Alice Lusinki, in absentia. Maya Koch Lynch. Margot Lynn Mafra Spencer. Eloise Sparrow Magancelli, magna cum laude. Eden Elizabeth Madavi, summa cum laude. Sonia Megana Malik, cum laude. Rebecca Mamlet, summa cum laude. Bree Lynn Mangold. Sasha Alea Marlon Libret, summa cum laude. Zuri Merokin. Haley Patricia Groner Martinez, cum laude. Natalie Esther Marks, cum laude. Kristen Elizabeth Mason, cum laude. Jessica Marie Maurice, cum laude. Catherine Mayer, summa cum laude. Samantha Robin Mayo. Leela Mazdisnian, cum laude. Emily McCabe, in absentia, cum laude. Julia Hayes McCartan, magna cum laude. Emily Albright McElroy, magna cum laude. Olivia Catherine McGrath, summa cum laude. Kathleen McHale, cum laude. Catherine Campbell McPhee, in absentia. Sarah Meadows, in absentia. Jessica May, cum laude. Camila Frances Segan Mejia, magna cum laude. Juliana Nicole Reagan Messina, cum laude. Elise Miramontes. Angela Molina. Madeline Moore, magna cum laude. Camila Daniela Morales Jimenez, in absentia. Mara Morioka, summa cum laude. Callie Morgan. Lillian Ada Mundell, magna cum laude. Sofia Manuela Munoz. Lily Anna Murchison. Ella Shaw Murdoch Gardner, summa cum laude. Uma Nagarajan Swenson, magna cum laude. Angelica Navarro, summa cum laude. Sofia Maestera Navratil. Madeline Kaylee Neff. Maya Ann Nichols, cum laude. Kelly Victoria Mariko Okamura. Fatumo Mohammed Omer. Alexis Deanne Nkechi Osifo, magna cum laude. Charlotte Tucker Ostro, cum laude. Amanda Owens, in absentia, cum laude. Shreya Padmanabhan, sorry. Benita Sunil Pandya, cum laude. Isabella Pardy, summa cum laude. Emily Padache, magna cum laude. Dia Maditya Pereira. Talia Fagenson Perlis, summa cum laude. Sophia Louise Perry, magna cum laude. Haley Pierpont, summa cum laude. Brooke Arden Platt, cum laude. Eva Polanco Grushinsky, cum laude. Abigail Mary Power, cum laude. Annika Maria Ragnarts, cum laude. Rajashree Rajkumar, in absentia. Yasmin Josephina Shao Razek, in absentia. Emily Blythe Reeder, in absentia, summa cum laude. Alexandra Rixmeyer Simjack. Alexandra Isabel Rivas Plata. Catherine Roberts, magna cum laude. Katja Roberts, summa cum laude. Elsa Runquist, magna cum laude. Alden Rose Saba, magna cum laude. Sarah Browning Carolee Safford, summa cum laude. Jessica Frances Salas. Anna Cornelia Salvati. Petey Ann Schill, magna cum laude. Keaton Grossinger Schiller, magna cum laude. Ellen Grace Schoenfeld, summa cum laude. Sophia Christine Schwartzman, summa cum laude. Ava Raquel Sealander. Sarah Louise Seaver, magna cum laude. Catherine Bell Sensenig, summa cum laude. Claire Shaw, cum laude. Sarah Martha Schertz. Emma Annette Smith. Jeray Song. Elizabeth Wun Sparing, cum laude. Anaga Srinivas, summa cum laude. Irie Sujihara, magna cum laude. Carrie Ann Taylor, in absentia. Selena Mangus Teklai, cum laude. Oh. She made it. Sorry. Carrie Ann Taylor? Carrie Ann Taylor. Selena Mangus Teklai, cum laude. Yasmin Tamar. Anna Christine Teskey. Hannah Kendall Fallberg. Emma Claire Thomas, cum laude. Katie Thomason, magna cum laude. Emma Christine Thompson. Grace Madeline Tomlin Marca, cum laude. Christina Sarah Torres. Bianca Isabel Torres Hamlin. Candace Ying Tai, in absentia, summa cum laude. Natalie Ming Yi Sai, cum laude. Abigail Marie Tulenko, summa cum laude. Raven Twilling, cum laude. Elizabeth Potter Euland, cum laude. H.M. Van Allen, in absentia, cum laude. S. Sienna Van Sickle, magna cum laude. Sangita Vempati. Natasha Virginia Elizabeth Vugan, magna cum laude. Nancy Vigil, in absentia. Aileen Villa, magna cum laude. Kayla Glory Rose Villalobos, magna cum laude. Lucienne Elizabeth Vintar, magna cum laude. Mi Vu. Megan Watera in absentia. Karen Laura Wang. Catherine Eva Ward, cum laude. Tila Warner Rosen, magna cum laude. Caitlin Elizabeth Westland in absentia. Noah Wharton, magna cum laude. Sophie Rosalind Renee Wilkes. Madison Eileen Yardumian in absentia, magna cum laude. Camille Rose Cruz Ilagan, summa cum laude. Carolyn Jane Young, cum laude. Cassidy Naidi Yu. Wen Xin Zhang, magna cum laude. Flora Zhao, in absentia, cum laude.
Graduates, please stand. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Scripps College, I hereby confer upon each of you the degree of Bachelor of Arts. Please move your tassels from the right to the left. Graduates, please take your seats. That seemed anticlimactic, huh? It is now my time as interim president to provide you a charge as you graduate, depart the beautiful Scripps College campus, leave what has been your home away from home, and begin your next set of experiences. It must be acknowledged that your class has been uniquely shaped by the pandemic. Most of you started your residential liberal arts in-person college experience 4 years ago. Then it was interrupted. In your second year, when the pandemic erupted and forced us to abruptly shut down in March 2020, returning to your homes and pivoting to remote education. This continued for your entire junior year. Fortunately, we were able to return to our in-person community this year, your senior year, albeit not a traditional senior year. There was limited 5C dining, you were required to wear masks and test weekly, you were required to be in quarantine and isolation if you tested positive, and on, and on, and on. What and who could have imagined this just a few short years ago? The pandemic has brought overwhelming sorrow and stress and illness and loss. But it has also forced us to approach learning and community building in new ways. I have watched you become better problem solvers and creative connectors as you navigated this uncharted terrain over the past few years. You are part of the pandemic history, and the pandemic is part of your history. Today, as there is seemingly light at the end of the tunnel, and an opportunity to return to a new normal, take pride in the unique skills you have developed due to the pandemic and utilize them to make an even greater difference in this world. Look around you at your friends, your classmates, the faculty behind me, the staff around us. This is your college community that you developed, nurtured, struggled with, and matured from. The pandemic suddenly removed many of the traditional ways we maintain our connections and forced us to ask, what does community really mean? How important is it to us? How can we create it even in the most isolated of circumstances? During your time on and off campus, you learned how to build, strengthen, and sustain a community in and outside of the classroom, in person and virtually, by your engagement with academics, student government, clubs and organizations, athletic teams, study groups, residence hall activities, 5C connections, and so much more. You learned and demonstrated that community is not necessarily being in the same geographical space, but is about engaging, interacting, and supporting one another, not only in the good times, but also, perhaps more importantly, in times of pain, inequity, and fear. Community is about feeling connected and responsible for one another. It is about focusing beyond ourselves as individuals and rather pursuing a greater good for those we know and love, as well as those we do not know personally, but whose humanity we value and advocate for. You found new, innovative ways to protect and even enhance that precious sense of connectedness, empathy, acceptance, and encouragement from supporting one another and forming bonds, friendships, and most importantly, a community. I remember watching several of you spread across the country, isolating in your own homes, come together through technology to create a unified dance production. You each danced in your own Zoom boxes, but the final product was a shared group experience. It was simply outstanding. As a social psychologist by training, your dance production reminded me of the famous Gestalt School of Psychology that teaches us that when we try to make sense of the world around us, we do not simply focus on every small component, but instead our minds tend to naturally perceive objects as elements of more complex systems, the whole being greater than the sum of its parts. Professor Golub even referred to this earlier today at awards convocation. Even more true today, we can attempt to make a difference as individuals, but our real power lies in acting together in community to affect change. We as a community are greater than the sum of our parts. You have already proven that you can overcome the most unprecedented of challenges during the pandemic and yet still build impactful, supportive, change-making communities. My charge to you is to create these same kind of communities as you transition to the next phases of your life. Bring together colleagues you encounter in the workplace to create a community that lifts one another up. Bring together like-minded advocates from across the globe to fight against injustice. Bring together family and friends to pursue common interests and passions. In the words of legendary civil rights leader John Lewis, quote, "Never ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble," end quote. Use your communities to effect such change. As you leave campus and forge your path beyond Scripps, take with you all that you have learned about the value and the vulnerability of community, and use what you have learned to build, protect, and sustain community in your future spheres of influence, because the strength of your community is directly connected to your individual achievement and your ability to affect collective change. I look forward to hearing from you about the communities you form, the mobilization efforts your communities enact, and the impact your engagement with these communities have on improving society. Congratulations to the class of 2022. Graduates and audience members, please stand and join in singing of Thy Many Gifts. everyone. I invite each of you to join us at the dinner dance. Now, for logistics, will the audience please remain standing until the recessional is completed and waiting for the recessional to proceed out? The platform party will exit the stage, followed by the faculty and then the graduates. Family and friends, thank you for joining us and for your support. Congratulations again from your alma mater, Scripps College.